This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines.
I don't think we can take a risk on a loose cannon like Donald Trump.
Hillary Clinton is in California raising funds for the fight against Republican candidate Donald Trump. Fires in Canada continue to burn, causing a state of emergency and forcing residents to evacuate. And new regulations raise the age of tobacco purchasing to 21 and tighten vaping standards. Hello, and welcome to Matador News. I'm Gabrielle Ortega.
And I'm Stephanie Rivera. Happening on campus right now, paramedics and campus police have been lined up on Edwanda Street, outside of Sierra Hall. Paramedics said they can make no further comment on the situation at this time.
The Transportation Security Administration has projected that airport security lines will surge this summer. Homeland Security has released a press release directing the TSA to take several steps to minimize travel disruptions. The TSA will add more screeners and bring more bomb-sniffing dogs to speed screening. Wednesday, the TSA asked Congress for more money to pay for additional staff to deal with the expected summer surge. Congressional committees considered the request, but only the Senate panel approved shifting $34 million from one TSA account to another.
Presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump is facing opposition from many quarters. The Rolling Stones are telling Donald Trump to stop using their music at his rallies. The legendary rockers say they never gave the presidential candidate permission to use their songs, Start Me Up and You Can Always Get What You Want, that he has been using since he launched his campaign. Opponents Ted Cruz and John Kasich drop out of the race this week. Trump's campaign says they are preparing a list of potential running mates, now that he's the last Republican left. Former Republican candidate Mitt Romney says he will skip Trump's nominating convention this summer. Romney did not give a reason, but some political analyses say the decision by Romney shows the nervous feelings some party members have with Trump taking the reins.
Now let's go to Matador News reporter Brigitte Raksin with the latest news on the San Andreas fault.
Seismologists say the San Andreas fault is locked and ready to go. At the National Earthquake Conference in Long Beach this week, scientists agreed that California is long overdue for the big one. Earthquakes relieve about 16 feet of accumulated plate movement every 100 years, but it's been over a century since the last shakeup on the fault. The CDC provides information on its website to assist in emergency planning. Physics and astronomy staff member Rachel Brown and other students reacted to the news.
From the news this morning, a geologist had said that the fault is locked and loaded and ready to go for the big one coming soon.
I have no preparation for it. All I can do is, I know how to hide under a table. That's all I pretty much know how to do.
The way I look at it is if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, well, that's even better.
The earthquake is projected to be a magnitude 8, lasting nearly 2 minutes. The Coachella Valley, Inland Empire, and Antelope Valley are going to be the hardest hit. Now back to Stephanie in the studio.
President Obama was in Flint yesterday investigating why the poison water was allowed in Flint before either the state or federal government raised an alarm.
Do not somehow communicate to our children here in this city that they're going to be saddled with problems with the rest of their life, because they will not. They'll do just fine.
The Senate may be voting to approve a $220 million aid package as early as next week. After yesterday's meeting, Obama had a sip of filtered Flint water, saying residents can feel safe doing the same.
A massive wildfire in the western Canadian city of Fort McMurray has now destroyed about 1,600 structures. Still, no reports of deaths or injuries, but 88,000 people have been driven out of their homes. More than 80% of the city's homes have been reportedly destroyed. Forest officials say high winds, warm weather, and dry conditions have created the explosive conditions. The fire is still burning out of control today, but the low temperatures in forecast for the weekend should help firefighters get the fires under control.
Presidential candidate Hillary Clinton is speaking today at East Los Angeles College to raise funds for her campaign. Clinton will discuss her plans to raise incomes for families. Members of Unión del Barrio, Mexa of East Los Angeles College, and other community organizations plan to march in Monterey Park to protest Clinton's stance on working-class communities. Her speech at the community college comes a day after she released her first attack, aimed at Donald Trump. Clinton released her ad on Twitter with the message saying President Trump is a dangerous proposition. The ad includes a montage of Republican politicians mocking Trump. Clinton's next task is the Democratic primary in West Virginia on Tuesday.
A newly discovered regulatory report says 3 patients died last year at Huntington Hospital in an outbreak caused by tainted medical scopes. Officials at the Pasadena hospital confirmed the patients were sickened, but declined to say more. Officials say patient privacy laws prevent the hospital from telling the public that the unnamed patients had died. It's still not clear how many patients have been infected during the outbreak or if only 3 died. The reusable scope suspected of causing the outbreak made by Olympus, but has a different design from the one recalled in January. An investigation into the suspected outbreak is continuing.
Now we go to Alicia Dieguez with the health report.
The Food and Drug Administration releases new rules regulations on electronic cigarettes. The FDA action comes 5 years after agency first announced its goal to regulate e-cigarettes, and more than 2 years after its initial proposal. E-cigarettes are battery-powered devices that burn nicotine into inhalable liquid vapor. They rapidly gain popularity among teens. The changes will ban e-cigarette sales to people under the age of 18 and require new health warnings. Most companies will have to submit pre-market applications and must get federal permission to continue marketing all e-cigarettes. There hasn't been any extensive research and scientific consensus on potential benefits or harm from vaping. A new California law has passed restricting the sale of cigarettes to anyone under 21. Matador News reporter Jordan Williams has more.
Thanks, Alicia. Remember when you could buy cigarettes at 18? My, oh my, the times have changed. Governor Jerry Brown signed the bill yesterday, making California the second state to change the legal age for buying tobacco products to 21. Hawaii was the first to do so earlier this year. Some CSUN students don't think the law will change much.
Kids that are 18 are still going to just get cigarettes from like older friends, so I don't really think it'll change much.
If there's a will, there's a way. Like, you've seen Prohibition, how like people still manage to find a way to get alcohol, so obviously they're still going to find a way to get cigarettes.
Although at 18 you are legally an adult, have the right to vote, and enlist in the military service, you cannot drink and now cannot purchase tobacco products. Age restriction laws leave some confused.
It's very confusing on what your limitations are. Like, you're considered an adult, but in some ways you're still like limited on what you can do.
I definitely think that like both the smoking and drinking age should be at 18, especially if you can go off to war and fight and possibly get killed.
In the past, age restriction laws have been known to change. CSUN student Philip Lopez believes that this law will be permanent.
I think once it's set, it's probably going to stay that way, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, it probably is a good thing overall, even if there's personal reasons to disagree with it. I think once it's 21, it'll stay that way.
Proponents of the law say it will lower the smoking age, save lives, and lower health costs. Back to you in the studio.
2 patients with HIV now have new kidneys from an organ donor who also had the virus. The first HIV organ transplant took place at St. Thomas Hospital in London. Hospital officials say the successful kidney transplants represent an important breakthrough. Organs from donors with HIV can only be donated to those with the virus. So far, 2 HIV-infected kidneys and livers have been donated. British transplant experts hope more people with the virus register to donate their organs. Now let's go to Haley Kramer for the business report.
New rules proposed by a consumer watchdog group may soon make it easier to file lawsuits against banks. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau wants banks to stop including class action bans within the contracts consumers sign when opening accounts. The ban usually leads consumers to settle disputes in private arbitration rather than court. The New York Times found from 2010 to 2014, only 505 complaining customers actually went to arbitration over disputes of $2,500 or less. Some experts say private arbitration does not hold banks accountable. Others say the new rule will end up hurting consumers because companies have more time and money to fight claims in court.
If you're traveling and looking for local tours, attractions, and activities, Airbnb may soon be able to help. The company currently allows anyone to temporarily rent out their rooms or entire homes to tourists. It operates in 34,000 cities across the world. Airbnb's more than 1 million hosts have expressed a desire to participate more in their guests' travel experience. The company says this connection will help travelers have better experiences because hosts can introduce them to local spots and people. Now let's go back to Alicia with her sports report.
Johnny Manziel makes his first appearance in court on a domestic violence charge. The incident occurred January and involved his ex-girlfriend Colleen Crowley. The former Cleveland Brown quarterback is being accused of hitting and dragging Crowley into a car. Manziel is facing up to a year in prison and a $4,000 fine for the misdemeanor family violence accident. The judge ordered Manziel to have no contact with Crowley and barred him from firearm possession. Manziel has agreed to a 2-year protection order keeping him from being within 500 feet of Crowley. Manziel has been released by the Cleveland Browns and dropped by his agents and sponsors. The Miami Heat plays tonight against the Toronto Raptors in Game 2 of the second round of the NBA playoffs. The Heat is leading the series 1-0. The Cleveland Cavaliers go against the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta tomorrow night. Cleveland is leading that series 2-0. In the West, the San Antonio Spurs are going against the Oklahoma City Thunder tomorrow night in Oklahoma. The Golden State Warriors play Saturday night in Game 3 against the Portland Blazers. The Warriors lead the series 2-0. What is said to be the biggest fight of the year is this Saturday as Canelo Alvarez and Amir Khan face each other for the WBC middleweight title. Canelo Alvarez is arguably the biggest name in boxing, and Amir Khan will be fighting as a middleweight for the first time in his career. Oscar De La Hoya, Canelo's agent, says Khan is confident he's going to knock out Canelo. Experts say Canelo's experience and size give him an advantage over Khan, but others say Khan's speed will give him an advantage over Canelo. The fight will air Saturday night on HBO at 9. Now let's go back to Haley Kramer with entertainment news.
Sesame Street has sent a cease and desist letter to an STD testing company for using Bert and Ernie in an ad. Mately, an at-home STD and HIV test maker, used Sesame Street characters in a campaign on Facebook. The ad shows both characters looking at medical papers while Bert says, "See, Ernie, you've got nothing to worry about. Everything is positive." Sesame officials say Mately ad is unauthorized and unlicensed use of characters. Mately has removed the image and apologized for the ad. Summer is just around the corner. It comes with some of the most anticipated movies of the year. The summer blockbuster season started with The Jungle Book. It set the record high for all summer movies to come with $100 million in its opening week. But summer really comes out blazing this week when Marvel returns with Captain America: Civil War, a sequel in the 2014 movie The Winter Soldier. Civil War is expected to make $200 million in its opening week. X-Men will come back to the screen with ultra-villain Apocalypse in late May. But there will also be some movies for romantics. Not only is the summer filled with action and sci-fi, a film based on the best-selling novel Me Before You will have audiences in tears. And the controversial all-female cast of Ghostbusters will be in theaters July 15th, hoping to have audiences burst into laughter. Jack O'Connell, Julia Roberts, and George Clooney will be co-starring in Money Monster opening this weekend. And Disney and Pixar will be bringing out Finding Dory since we already found Nemo in 2003. That's all for entertainment. Now back to Stephanie with more news and weather.
There is still no winner from Wednesday's night Powerball drawing, and now the jackpot has increased to $415 million. To claim the grand prize, a lottery ticket has to match all 6 numbers, 5 white balls, and the red Powerball. Some seasoned students say they have ideas for what they will do if they won the Powerball's grand prize.
I would buy my dad a house to pay him back for all he's done for me. And then I'd probably buy myself a new car.
Probably buy a better place than I live in now and save up most of it until I figure out what to do with it.
I'd probably drop out of school and be selfish with it.
Probably split it in half and give the half to my family, just so they could have a nicer house and maybe get a new car.
Good luck to everyone who purchased a lottery ticket. The next drawing is this Saturday night at 8.
It's Cinco de Mayo. Expect fiestas, cervezas, and thunderstorms. In Los Angeles weather, highs will be in the upper 60s and lows in the mid-50s. There's a 40% chance of rain with scattered thunderstorms. Cinco de Mayo will not only leave your head pounding, but your roof pounding too, as thunderstorms will continue throughout the weekend. Thank you for watching Matador News. I'm Gabrielle Ortega.
I'm Stephanie Rivera.
I'm Alicia Dieguez.
And I'm Haley Kramer.
Have a happy Cinco de Mayo, drink up, and stay safe.